Hi guys, welcome to our weekly Monday Night Huddle. I'm Amber Ike, and thank you guys so much for showing up tonight. I know that life is busy, and it's 9 p.m. where I am, and I know some of you might be on the East Coast, and that's 10 p.m. So I just really want to thank you for taking time out because it's just so true that those who show up go up. You know, there's so many things that we could be doing with our time right now, but investing in your time with your business is definitely going to pay off for you. So what I wanted to talk about tonight is actually a few of us from Texas went up to Dallas a couple weekends ago and got to listen to Eric Worre live. And for those of you who don't know who Eric Worre is, he is author of the book Go Pro, and I recommend that book. If you have not read a network marketing book, make that your first one, or get the audio CD. It's actually a really quick read and a really quick listen. But he is a mastermind. He is like the network marketing pro is what he calls himself. And for those of you who do know him, you just know how brilliant and wise he is with all things network marketing. And just the things he says are just so simple, but if you implement even just like a quarter of what he says, you start seeing things change in your business really right away is what I've noticed when I start implementing the things he says. So that's just a little plug for him. I don't get paid to talk about him, but just such great knowledge over the weekend. But my major takeaway is actually something that's really simple. Like I said, nothing he says is just like from left field. But this was my biggest aha moment. And I know some of the girls on here tonight went with me and they can attest to this just being amazing too. But basically, tonight we're going to be talking about your story. We all have a story. We all have a story that got us to where we are with Plexus in our lives. And all of our stories are unique and different. And when we really realize that our story is what we get to use in our business day in and day out, you will see a change in your business when you start utilizing your story regularly. We all know the saying, facts tell and stories sell. And that is so true. I think with network marketing, you know, we feel like we have to know the entire list of ingredients of every single product before we can start talking to people about it. Or we feel like we just have to know our compensation plan and the 11 different ways we get paid before we can tell anyone about how amazing our opportunity is. And although facts do tell, you know, some people want to know the facts, the real difference maker is your story. Your story is what is going to connect with people and cause them to want to have what you have. So he said, and actually this was in a training I was listening to today of his, but we are literally paid storytellers. When you start looking at it like you are a storyteller, and you just get paid well to tell stories, to share stories with people. That's what we get to do every single day. We are not salespeople. I had a friend message me today and she's like, I'm really interested, but I'm not a salesperson. I'm like, okay, that's perfect because we don't want salespeople. We really want normal, real life people that just want to share what these products and what this opportunity are doing in their lives. And that's what we're doing. We're sharing real life stories and connecting with people. So if you want to connect with people, you have to share your story. Basically, Eric Worre said that there are 4 parts to your story. So write these down. These are the 4 different parts to your story. Your background, basically who you are, you know, what you were doing prior to Plexus, that kind of thing. And that's just going to help you connect with people a little bit. But who you are, your background. Number 2 is your pain or your struggle. And that's basically what you didn't like about your background or what was going on in your life before Plexus entered your life. And this can be with your health too. Like I'm kind of going from a business angle, but this can be with your health also. And that's where you're going to connect with people emotionally. Number 3 is the opportunity or the solution, you know, whether it's the opportunity of Plexus with the business or whether it's the solution of our products for what you're going through. And then number 4 is how you feel about your future now. So it was really interesting because he asked us as an audience, which one of those four things do you think people care about the most? And honestly, you guys, I was like, they care about your future. Like they care about what you're dreaming about. You know, like that's kind of what my gut told me. But you guys know I'm a dreamer, so that's what I care about for a lot of people. But honestly, that's not the thing that people connect with. In Plexus, we tend to always focus on number 3 and number 4 when we're talking to people, which is the opportunity and how you're dreaming big for your future now, or how you feel about your future. But those are not the areas that are going to connect with people. People don't care what this opportunity has done for your life until they know what you were going through before this came into your life. And I know that that's scary for a lot of us because that's where we have to be vulnerable and we have to really share what we were going through pre-Plexus. But that is what people connect with, and that's what people care about. They don't want to be sold to. They just want to hear your story. So the most important part of your story is the pain and the struggle part. And like I said, I know that's scary. That's a scary thing to really feel like you need to camp out on when you're sharing your story. But that's what people are going to connect with. We did this exercise, and it was funny because a couple of us were like getting anxiety when he was explaining the exercise to us. I won't point any fingers. But so the exercise was really neat. Basically, he wanted us to tell our story using those 4 different parts. We had to go up to a complete stranger. And the first time around, he just basically said, share those 4 things and just see what happens. And so I was paired up with a 19-year-old guy who grew up in LA, and his story was really fascinating. And so basically, we just shared our story, and then we came back together as a group. And Eric Worre asked us, he was like, how was that? And a lot of us felt like we had connected with the person we had shared our story with, just going through those 4 little steps. But it wasn't this amazing, like earth-shattering thing. So then he had us do it again with another person, another stranger. And this time he was like, okay, I really want you to focus on that pain, that struggle. Really allow yourself to be vulnerable and share how you felt, before this came into your life. And so we did that, and we came back together, and he was like, okay, how was that? And the whole room was like, oh my gosh, that was like, you wanted to connect with that person. You wanted to help that person. You wanted to hear more. You didn't feel like you were being sold to, like you felt like you genuinely had a connection with that person. So that was really like the minute that happened, I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Well, then he had us do it a 3rd time. And this time, the person we were talking with, we were just supposed to share number 3 and number 4. So just share the opportunity or the solution and how you feel about your future now. And so that's what we did. And then we came back together as a group, and he was like, how was that? And we were all like, it was awkward. It just didn't feel like we were connecting. It just felt kind of salesy. Basically, there was just no connection. And he said, that is what all of you guys, like 99% of you, are doing in your businesses. This is how you're running your businesses. You're saying, oh my gosh, this amazing thing fell in my lap, these products, this opportunity, and now I'm dreaming so big for my future. And now I'm, the sky's the limit. And I'm guilty of this. I still do. I'm trying to figure it out. But that's what we do. We just think, oh my gosh, like now I just want to share it with everyone. And I think we make the mistake that even our closest friends and our closest family know that pain and know that struggle that we went through. So we don't feel like we have to like share that part. But when I was thinking about it, I was like, if I'm being honest, my husband even, he knew I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Like that was always our goal. But I didn't camp out on that pain day in and day out because I didn't want to make him feel poorly, as the provider of our home. And so I didn't share like that innermost pain. Yeah, he knew I wanted to stay home, but I didn't even share that with my husband. So, imagine your friends, and especially for those of us sharing on social media, we kind of just assume, oh, well, they know what my life was like before all this happened. But until you share that part, they don't know. They don't have any idea. And we have to share that part. We have to share what we went through and what got us to the point of wanting something in our lives like Plexus. So we must be vulnerable and share that part of our story, because that's where the magic happens, you guys. And it was interesting when I was doing the second part with one lady that I really got to share my heart, you know, and she was sharing her heart and we were being vulnerable. We had nothing in common. Like, you know, she had a totally different life in a different stage of life, like sending her kids to college, like totally not on the same level at all in terms of where we are in life. But I felt so invested in what she was telling me. And the same for her with me. Like, we had that connection because pain knows pain. You know what I mean? Like, struggle knows struggle. It might not be the same. It might look different. It might have a different name on it. But pain ultimately knows pain. So it was just interesting to see how we were so different, but we could connect because we were both being real and vulnerable. So, you know, we get so excited about how amazing our company is and how life-changing our products are and how, you know, mind-blowing our compensation plan is. And those are all great things, but those are not the things that we should be leading with. You know, those are not the things that are going to really get people interested in what we have. People need to know why you're doing what you're doing. They need to know why you're so passionate about what we have. And the reason you're passionate about it, yeah, we have great products and we have a great compensation plan and we have a great Plexus family. But the reason you're passionate about it is because you felt a solution to what you were feeling before, whatever that thing was, whether it was health related, whether it was financial related, whether it was relationship related, whatever that thing was, that Plexus is now fitting that for you, or you see it fitting that soon. That's why you're here. That's why you're passionate about what we have. Otherwise, you wouldn't show up for this, you know, in the evening, because it's easier to just do other things. So, the most important thing is your story, and we all have one. And don't fall into the trap of, okay, well, you know, once I'm Emerald, then I can share my story, because that's not what your friends and family relate with you right now. You know, you have to share your story the entire time, and your story will evolve. You know, it will evolve, and you can change it as you go and fit that need. But and don't worry, it doesn't have to be super long. Like, we're talking like 2 to 3 minutes. Don't feel like you have to have a deep counseling session when you're talking to people about Plexus, and it's going to take 30 minutes of you sharing your pain before you get to the good part. It's just really allowing yourself to go there and to be vulnerable, because that's what people are going to connect with. So look for opportunities to share your story every day, you guys. And that's what I love about these 3-way calls that we're wanting to do with new ambassadors or with prospects, or, you know, these virtual sip and sees that we've been doing. These are opportunities for you to share your story. And I'm just a firm believer in, when people connect with you in that way, they're going to understand a little bit more about what we have to offer. You know, we could add them to the team pages all day. We can tag them in videos. We can just send them some information in the mail. Until they're really connecting with other people on our team and seeing how life-changing this is for people, people aren't interested. You know, there's other things to be doing with their time. But when they have that heart connection, they want to show up for stuff. They want to be more mindful of what they've signed up for. So share your story on 3-way calls with new ambassadors, virtual sip and sees. When you're meeting new people, you guys, if you're at the park with your kids and somebody's just asking you like what you do or whatnot, like that's a segue into what you do and why you do it. Opportunity events, of course. Even when you're just meeting with friends, you know, this doesn't have to be a formal format. This can just be you sharing your story anywhere you go. On social media, when we're posting on Facebook, that's one thing that I realized I really hadn't done a lot of, is sharing that pre-Plexus part on Facebook. Like, yes, people know our life has changed and I'm dreaming bigger than ever, but I don't think people really understand how desperate I was before Plexus entered our life. And that's what connects with people, because people feel that way. You know, that's the real situation. So everywhere you go, you can share your story. And learn other people's stories too, you guys. It's not just your story. Your story is definitely the one you want to focus on the most, but learn other people's stories. That's the beauty of like the Diamond documentaries. I had a lady I was messaging with today, and she's a single mom and, you know, has a teenager and all this stuff. And so I know my story can reach her in a certain way, but I also know there's other single moms out there that she can relate with. And so like, that's what the Diamond documentaries are there for, you guys. There's all different types of Diamond documentaries that you can get to learn their stories, get to know who in Plexus has different success stories with different products, or different financial situations, and keep those tucked away, file those away. So when you're talking with someone, you can be like, you can share your story, you can connect with them, but then you can further give them more information on, okay, so I have this friend, or I know this person who has this similar situation. So learn other people's stories. Master the art of storytelling and watch your business grow as you connect with people. So I'm just going to give you guys a really, really quick version of my story because I know a lot of you have heard it. But basically, if I'm going through those bullet points, my background would be, I've always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I was nannying. I had the, you know, the blessing of being able to take my son with me to nanny, but ultimately I just wanted to stay home. But financially, it wasn't looking good. You know, we had already budgeted in my nanny income for our bills. So I couldn't just quit cold turkey. And it was getting to the point where I was looking high and low and nothing was a good fit for our family. I was getting desperate. I was getting frustrated because it looked like we couldn't even grow our family because here I was taking my kid to watch other people's kids. But then, you know, lo and behold, I was cruising Facebook one night and my friend posted something about Plexus, and I just had this feeling in my gut that this is something I needed to look into. I had a feeling that this is what I had been praying for 2 years. And on a hope and a prayer and charging it to my credit card because we didn't have any extra money, you guys, no extra money. I purchased a welcome pack and I just, you know, went full force. And, you know, now 2 years later or 3 months into it, I was able to quit nannying and stay home like I've always wanted to do. And now 2 years later, we're dreaming even bigger. You know, hopefully going to be retiring my husband soon at the age of 35. And we just know the best is yet to come, that kind of thing. But just really, I mean, sharing that I had to put that on a credit card isn't comfortable for me. That's something I just now recently started sharing because it dawned on me that that's what we had to do. We had no extra money. Everything was strictly budgeted. I mean, I'm talking groceries every week could not go past a certain amount. And that was just our normal. And that's not a bad thing, but that's just, we had no extra money. So, but realizing that putting that on a credit card, so many people relate to that. You know, that's where a lot of us are when we start Plexus, and realizing that that's where I was 2 years ago. And now if I put something on a credit card, it's because I want to get points for airfare. Like, it's not because that's our only option now. And that is huge, you guys. And it sounds like a simple detail, but it's vulnerable for me to share that, you know. But I know that people can connect with that. So that's my story in a nutshell. I have a couple girls on here that went with me, and they were going to share theirs also. Let's see, Christy, you want to go first, hon?
Sure. So my story is twofold, but I'm going to focus more on the financial side of it tonight. So I started out and I've been working for the past 8 years as a paraprofessional in a school district. And I worked at a couple different schools, and I had the blessing of staying home with my family and my kids for the first 10 years when my first one was born. And then until my second one started kindergarten, we made financial sacrifices for me to stay home. But then when we moved here to Texas, I went back to work, and I'm not one that can do anything halfway. So I was pretty well wearing myself out on everybody else's kids. I had no time for my family and no energy left for my family once I got home from work. I made just enough money to help out with the bills, and basically came home with very little paycheck because my paycheck went to cover insurance for my family. So as a paraprofessional, yes, it's rewarding in the fact that you're doing a lot of work for a lot of students and helping them, but financially and time-wise, it really it was a struggle, feeling a bit unappreciated, not making much money, and giving a ton of time to other people and not my family. It was getting pretty frustrating. So when I was on the Plexus products for about 9 months, I started seeing glimpses of what the business could do. So I kind of jumped on board after a meeting and realized the opportunity that it was. And so I started working the business a bit, and my hope started to build from there. And it has now surpassed my my income at school. And I'm super, super excited about my future because I will be quitting my day job this summer and getting to stay home and do what I want to do, which is take care of my family. I want to be able to make healthy dinners for them. I want to be able to show up at their school and, help with PTO stuff, or I want to be able to volunteer at our church. I want to be able to meet my husband for lunch. And eventually I will be able to retire my husband. And the thought of that it makes my heart happy, because I know how hard he has worked for us and our family for the past 20 years that we've been married, that for me to be able to do that for him so that he can relax and sit back and let me provide for the family for a while it's a blessing. And it's an exciting thought. So that's my story.
Thank you, Christy. So good. All right, Mary, you're up, girl.
All right. Well, that's a hard act to follow. Great job, Christy. So we decided that she would focus more on the financial side and I would focus more on the health side. My story is so multifaceted, and like Amber said, it changes. So, but I definitely feel like for me, I grew up in a family full of type 2 diabetics. And, my grandfather lost his leg to diabetes. And I think I just grew up knowing that everybody in my family had diabetes, aunts, uncles, my grandparents on both sides of my family. And as I got older, I became a nurse. I've been a registered nurse for 13 years. And most recently, I've been a wound care nurse. And wound care nurses, we tend to deal mostly with the diabetic population. And so as time went on, it started to wear on me more and more that I was seeing the effects of these diabetics, and that was potentially in my future. And I don't want, and my resolve became like, I don't want that to be my future. I don't want that to be my life. And I don't want that to be the legacy that I pass on to my daughter, And so as a wound care nurse, I would see the effects of diabetes over and over again, most every day, of what people were dealing with diabetes. And my health journey with Plexus truly became evident because I saw Amber post about the pink drink and how it balanced your blood sugar. I was diagnosed with PCOS, and doctors don't know a lot about how it's related to blood sugar, but it is. And it increases your likelihood that you're going to get diabetes. So with my family history of diabetes and seeing diabetes play out every day at work, and knowing that I didn't want that in my future, I was all in. And seriously, that's the main reason that I initially signed up with Plexus, is if I can do anything for myself and to prevent diabetes. Of course, I wanted to lose weight as well, which is going to help to further my cause and prevent diabetes. Then that's what I wanted to do. And so through Plexus, I've lost weight. A lot of my PCOS symptoms have gone away or are much, much less than they were. And even I lost 100 pounds on my own before, and my PCOS symptoms were not as affected as they are on Plexus. So that's huge for me. I know that this is actually working, and I feel empowered about my future. I know that I have something not only for myself that I can, in my own hands, that I can do to help prevent that becoming my future, but I also have it for my child and for my family members who this is their current reality, that they have diabetes or that they're headed down that road pretty quickly. And so Plexus has given me hope that I can pass on to my family and friends, and hope for myself and my future as far as my health goes. And that's what Plexus has done for me. And so I'm very passionate about sharing that with people, not only with diabetes, but just the health benefits of all the products and what they can do for people.
Thank you. So good, Mary. And that's the thing, like Mary just touched on, our journeys are always changing, and your story there's always a reason why you joined, but then we realize that we get so much more out of it than we expected. I didn't expect any health benefits, you guys. I thought I was like healthy, even though I was like sipping on Diet Coke all day. And so it's just neat how it's so much bigger than what we thought we were getting when we signed up. So it's just so fun. So I really just want to encourage you guys to take some time tonight while this is fresh in your minds, and just sit down and write your story if you haven't yet, or, just, I want you to write it so then you have it, or share it with a friend. If you need help going through your story, find a power partner to do that with, or you can always message me and I can help work with it, I can't talk tonight, work with you on it. Because this is huge, you guys, and we have got to not only just master our own story, but realize that it matters. Your story matters. And before you start talking about all these amazing products with people and about our compensation plan and, how you're going to Vegas in June and all those things, people need to know why you were in a place that you needed Plexus, whether that was one thing or another. And if you guys have been to an opportunity event, you realize that it's the stories that you connect with. We used to have opportunity events down here, and we just ran them like strictly just testimonies, like just share stories, let people share their stories. And those are huge because people are able to connect and really realize that this is bigger than what they thought. So, but I just want to challenge you guys. What do you think would happen if you made it your mission to share your story once a day for the next 30 days? What do you think would happen if you just committed to share your story, whether that was with a friend, that you're reconnecting with, or whether that's on a virtual sip and see for one of your ambassadors and their friends, or if it's with one of your new ambassadors and their new ambassadors on a 3-way call. That's what I do, you guys. When I do my 3-way calls with you guys, I share my story. That's like the first thing I do. For those of you who've done one with me, that's the first thing I do. But what would happen if you just made up your mind that you would do this for the next 30 days, no matter what happens, once a day you are going to share your story with somebody? You guys, I know that your businesses would explode, but not only that, you would connect with people in a way that people are looking to connect. People don't want to just get some products and hope. They do. They think that's all there is. But when we connect with them and let them see that this is about so much more than just losing 10 pounds, that this can truly be life-changing for them, that's where the magic happens. That's where this gets to be so fulfilling. And just think about this, you guys. What if you and 3 people from your team, say you're silver on here tonight and you have 3 people on your team. What if you guys, the 4 of you, committed to doing this for the next 30 days, sharing your story once a day? That is 120 people, possibly more if you're doing virtual sip and seas and have more than one person on there. But let's just say that's 120 people over 1 month's time that you are connecting with as a team. And the average is 1 to 2 people out of every 10 will join you, or, you know, want these products or want this opportunity, or both. So let's just say 2 people. So out of that 120, hang on, I have to reference my math. What is that? That's 24 people joining your team in 30 days. You could be a silver ambassador, and if you guys commit to doing this, you could be gold. You know, that 20 people is gold. So just think about that, you guys. This is where the magic happens, is just sharing your story. You don't have to have this elaborate presentation where you're going over the science behind every single product. There are documents for that. There are, you know, videos for that. Yes, you need to learn your products, but don't not share with people because you aren't well versed in all of that yet. Your story is enough. You know, even if you're brand new tonight and you don't have this like amazing financial story or this amazing health transformation, there is a reason why you came to Plexus. And you can just share what you're looking forward to. You know, obviously share where you come from, the pain that you were in or you're still in, but share what you're excited about too, because that's valid. You know, people want to be on this journey with you. Okay, so taking it a step further, what if you have 10 people on your team, including you, to make math easy for me, and you guys shared your story for the next 30 days, 1 person a day? That is 300 people that you guys are connecting with. And if, you know, 20% joined you guys, that would be 60 people in 30 days. Do you guys see like how this compounds? Because it's not just the same 10 people will share their story day in and day out. All of us are having these life-changing stories, whether it's our health or our finances or both. And as we become ambassadors and share this with people we connect with, it just creates this movement. So it's just really exciting. And that's where the power of momentum is. And it all begins with your story. Your story is enough. That's what you need to focus on. And so I just really want to challenge you guys to commit to the next 30 days that you are going to share your story with 1 person a day minimum, and just see what happens. And then I would love to hear your guys' you know, what happens, your success over that. But I really want to hear your stories too, you guys. So feel free, if you guys want, you can message me your stories if you want to work on it. And if you want me to help tweak it, you know, if you feel like you need that help with it, I would love to be a resource to help you guys. And that's just where the magic happens, you guys. Not only you guys sharing your stories with prospects and friends and potentials, but sharing your stories with each other, you know, realizing what your life was like before Plexus and realizing what mine was like before Plexus and how we can connect together. That creates a culture on our team even of just so much just connection and relationship building to really connect on that level. But I'm going to open it up to you guys. And if anyone had any questions about sharing your story, or if anyone wants to share their story tonight, I know it's getting late, so if you have to jump off, I understand, but I just want to make sure I open it up to you guys.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, hi, I'm Carmen. Honestly, I feel like my story is about all I have right now. To be honest, because I've had some people who are like on visual, like, oh, you're skinny. You never had, you know, you've been skinny your whole life. So I have to do a lot. I have to be a little more creative with it. I don't want to call it creative, but that's my things, my stories that, you know, the health issues that I had that people who knew me my whole life never knew about. Never knew that I was diagnosed with Raynaud's disease and my hands just go numb out of the blue, and the complications I had post delivery because of overgrowth of yeast and my journey with discovering about candida and yeast and probiotics. And so those are just things about me that most people don't know. And when I tell my story, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. And it's almost like, okay, now I can see why you're using this stuff, because otherwise, you know, I get that question mark, I get that blank stare of, why are you using Plexus, and why are you trying to tell other people, like, posts out there that talk about all the other benefits? people still kind of target in on the weight loss, and they stop listening after that, and they dismiss me. So, I think my story has really been the attraction to, people who never knew that about me and kind of.
Yeah. No, I totally get it, Carmen. And that's the cool thing about your story.
I understand my interest in Plexus beyond the business aspect. Like, why do I use it?
Oh, wait, sorry. I think there's like a lag. Okay. No, that's the thing. Like, this isn't just about weight loss. And if we are only portraying that side of it, we're missing 95% of the population that needs our products in addition to weight loss. You know what I mean? Like, so much of our issues stem from those three areas being out of whack that our products target. So this just gives you a playing field, Carmen, where you get to educate people on how our products are more than just weight loss. So yeah, don't feel like you have to have this huge weight loss testimony to be an ambassador and to have a successful story. So good point. Did anyone else want to share? Does anyone have questions on this? Does being vulnerable make you guys so excited? Who loves sharing their pain and their struggles?
Hey, Amber, can I share something really quick?
Yeah.
So when we went to see Eric Worre, and like Amber said, he told us to turn around and find someone we didn't know. It had to be someone we didn't know to share our story with. I turned around and found this young guy behind me, and I shared like the financial part of my story with him. And no, I'm a gold ambassador. I'm not just a gold. I'm a gold ambassador, so I don't have this huge financial windfall yet from Plexus yet. But one of the things that I told him, we could not tell them what company we worked for. That was one of the things that was off limits. You couldn't share. So we had to just say like my company and that sort of thing. And so when I told him about my hope for the future and that I'm a registered nurse and that I'm already making enough to where I don't have to work part-time anymore as a registered nurse, I can stay home with my kids and still contribute financially, and to where I'm not planning to go back to work as a nurse, even though I was the primary breadwinner for our family and all this stuff. After I finished telling him my story, he leaned down and he said, what company do you work for? And let me just tell you, these are all people who are serious about the company that they're with because they were spending their Saturday there. And just for me telling him that about Plexus was enough for him to be like, okay, what company do you work for? Because, I want that for my wife. And I just thought that was so funny,
Yes. No, and that's another thing that Eric Worre touched on is when you just share a little bit about the opportunity, like say you're talking about like not really a compensation plan, but just the opportunity that we have in our hands. Even if you don't have a Lexus in your driveway, people that do. You know what I mean? Like I used Nikki's story until I had my own Lexus. Like I was like, my sponsor has her Lexus. Like this is real. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things, like you borrow people's stories. Obviously you don't say it's your own, but you know people that are, making life-changing income in the process of you getting there as well. But where was I going with that? Oh, one thing he said is if you share a little bit of our opportunity with people, if they have an entrepreneurial bone in their body, they will join you because our opportunity is it's just too amazing that even people in other companies, and I'm not saying we should go try to recruit people from other companies, but if they have an entrepreneurial spirit at all, they will see that our way, network marketing is a better way, but even then, like Plexus is even like above and beyond what most companies are able to provide. So I just thought that was neat. Like when you start talking with people, share the opportunity because if they have an entrepreneurial spirit, they will jump on it sooner than later.
The key, I think, is not leading with that. You have to share about the pain of where you are. Like I shared with him my hopes and dreams and how I always wanted to stay home with my kids first. And I connected with him there. And then, that's when he said, well, I want that for my wife. You see, I connected him. If I would have just jumped to like, well, I'm going to be driving a Lexus and I'm not going to go back to work, I would have missed the boat completely with him.
Yes, so true. And yeah, and you guys just remember that even your closest friends and your closest family, a lot of them really don't unless you're just extremely vulnerable all the time and just sharing your pain all day, every day, they don't know what you're feeling. Life's busy. A lot of us aren't camping out on what we're struggling with because we've got stuff to do. We've got bills to pay. We've got work to go to, when you just take an opportunity and you just share a little bit about why this is changing your life so much, health-wise, business-wise, whatever that looks like for you right now, people are going to connect with that. So,
Amber, that was actually one of my favorite parts about what he talked about when he said, look, that's the mistake y'all have made. You've gone out and vomited 3 and 4 all over your family and friends. Now, when you get your story, go back to those people and say, hey, look, I was new. I was just getting started. I know I kind of threw up the opportunity all over you, and that was my bad, but I've been working on it. And now could I just share my real story with you? Could I just take a minute to tell you why I'm really doing this? And he said, I love that part because it was sort of like redemption for all the mistakes that you've made. And you can do that with your good friends and family. You can ask for that second chance to retell your story. And I mean, I'm optimistic that it would work because who wouldn't give you the time to just practice or, tell them what you were thinking really, but you just got overly excited about the opportunity when you first shared it.
Especially the fact that you're still doing it, that speaks volumes in and of itself. When your friends and family see, oh, she's still doing this, like, okay, maybe this is legit. And I love what you said, Kirsten, how you're sharing, you can say, I just want to tell you why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, I just want you to know why I'm so passionate about this. Because people want to know the why. They don't really care the what. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they want to know the facts a little bit here and there, but they want to know why you're so passionate about this. So I love that.
I also, if I can confess that I was the one with anxiety in doing that. But I will say that practicing twice there with perfect strangers, and then really getting my story down in the next couple of days after that. And I didn't really practice any further other than just figuring out what my story was and realizing that it did have an impact and it was meaningful. That following week, I went into the Verizon store to get my new phone and ended up sharing my story with the sales guy there. And it touched him to the point where he was excited to become my Facebook friend. And, he's liked some of my posts since then. And he's, so sharing the pain part of it, the working long hours for a little bit of pay, because a cell phone sales guy is not making a ton of money. It touched him. And when I said I'm quitting my job this summer, and when I said my upline has Alexis and she's retiring her husband, it makes a connection. And I didn't feel like I was going to throw up when I started talking to him. You know what I mean? I like just practicing on people you're comfortable with, or just doing it a couple of times. It'll calm your nerves, because I know that I'm not the only one on here that starts sweating and their heart starts racing when they even think about going out and telling someone their story. I know I'm not the only introvert on here out of 30 some odd people that started out on this meeting today. So I just wanted to share that part with you, that it does get easier. And it's completely worth it, because what we have can change somebody's life. And keeping it to ourselves, if you look at it in a different light, you're keeping an amazing thing from somebody else if you don't step outside of your box and share it. So true. So true. So guys, I want you guys to take some time tonight, like I said, and work on that story, and just allow yourself to really camp out on that pain struggle part.
as uncomfortable as it's going to be, because that's the meat of your story. And like I said, if you guys want to get together with a power partner and just go to town going over it together and sharing it together before you start telling your friends about it, do that. If you need help tweaking it, or if you just want me to kind of read over it, I would love to do that also. Also, if you guys want to use the voice feature, if you want to pretend like you're telling your story, you can always do that when you're sharing it with me or your power partner also. But I want to get our picture, and I'm sitting here trying to delete stuff off my ghetto phone. And okay, girls. So if you want to be in the picture, show yourselves. All right, girls, ready, set, cheese. Oh, wait, hang on. I don't know if it took. Let me take one more just to be sure. Okay, ready, set. All right, ladies. Thank you guys so much for jumping on. And yeah, if you guys have any more questions about this story thing, don't hesitate to ask, because this is the meat of what you're going to be doing here on out. Like, this is the bread and butter of what you're going to be doing. So, night, everyone.